Today's liquor is
We're warming up for the show. If you're watching this video, it's a recorded live stream, so the show officially starts after a few minutes. Feel free to just watch us prep and reshare links and test the microphone. Oh, forgot to test the microphone.
no, I
There,
switched
audio
it.
levels
I
there.
switched it.
Or jump forward to the start of the show.
But if you're watching this live, I would be very impressed if you can jump forward to the start of the show because you have unlocked new temporal abilities. Congratulations. Ukia.
Okay, video is running. I can see the feed in YouTube. Resharing to Facebook feed is running as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because I go to Facebook first before I go to YouTube. You go to YouTube first before you go to
Yeah, because there have been times I go to Facebook and it's not there yet. So, and then I
Mm-mm.
go back to YouTube and I go back and forth. So kind of
Fair.
learned. Sharing it to the mailing list.
Okay, tweeting. All right. So yeah, I think we are ready on that front, and then we'll just give people a few more minutes to pop in. So we've been one of our comfort watching things this week is like izakaya but botokari. I
Hmm.
probably mispronouncing that. So one of those kind of nice feel good Japanese shows based potentially based on a manga or something. And
Hmm.
then while not our favorite show, it's just quaint. But I do like wish we had like a restaurant like that.
Mm.
Like a restaurant, a nice small restaurant that you patronize regularly, and then they know you, and then they prepare special dishes for you or
Hmm.
whatever. Not necessarily special, but like they tailor it a bit to you. So
Yeah.
that's a nice experience that I can't imagine. So like here in BGC, well, one it's the pandemic, so we're barely going out. But then two, like here in BGC, like there's a lot of commercial establishments and not necessarily any like small restaurant. I think the closest we got to feeling like this was Nemoto,
Hmm.
but we didn't quite go there enough to be recognized, to be truly recognized as regulars.
Yeah.
But there were days that we would get free stuff,
Mm.
typically a
And then of
dessert.
course Obar,
Well, Obar,
in the
yes.
sense that we'd always have a chance to try the new dishes
Mm, that's true. That's true.
and then the new drinks.
That's the closest we get to like
Mm.
uh, feeling like special regular customers. And I wonder, like and then yeah, I'm trying to think of like other places in BGC. Like, I mean, there are some smaller restaurants, but then like not the sort that we go to enough regularly
Mm-mm.
for things to happen.
Sariwan almost.
Almost, although it's
There was a time the staff recognized us, and
mm-mm.
it's always, if one of us is early, "Oh, wala pa si sir."
Yeah, it's quaint. And then, but then like then they changed the staff on us,
Mm.
and so it's like, oh no. So that's a pain. All right. Uh. So I guess we're just. I guess we can start,
Yeah.
and then we'll get through today. Although I have little resources on what to talk about today, but okay, let's go. So I'm just gonna roll credits, and we'll be right back.
Oh yeah! Fully fried!
This is Toby.
And this is Rocky.
And if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It's completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random
And
live.
if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. Today is a Tuesday, so we tend to talk about food, and this is a requested topic.
Yep, it was requested by Kenny, and we're hoping he can drop by today.
Mhm.
But yeah, and I'll probably pull up the original wording of the suggestion.
Mhm.
But yeah, so for those who are unfamiliar, we have a suggestion box. You can get the link again at the end, or I think it's in the description of the video, depending on where you're watching it.
Mhm.
So we always appreciate things. So yeah, it's Kenny, and he specifically listed out gummies, sour candies, hard candies, candy corner days. So we're gonna talk about candy in general.
Mhm.
So Toby, how do you want to start talking about candy?
So, according to candyhistory.net, the English word candy was in use as early as the late 13th century and derives from the Arabic word candy, meaning
Q
made
A
of
N D
sugar.
I.
Made of
Oh,
sugar.
okay.
Um, Candy is made by dissolving sugar in water or milk to form a syrup. The final texture of candy depends on the levels of temperature and sugar concentrations that are present. Hot temperatures make hard candy, medium heat makes soft candy, and cooler temperatures make chewy candy. I did
Okay.
not know this.
Oh, that the temperature changes.
Yes.
Okay, which I guess it makes sense. Like because as you heat
More moisture
sugar, and
leaves.
yeah, then it just changes the
Mhm.
process. Like randomly, I ended up stopping on a TikTok video. Was it just this morning where someone sh- someone did an instructional video on how to make dalgona candy,
Mhm.
and it's really like she takes sugar in a metal ladle and holds it over flame
Until it
and then
melts.
slowly melt and then like stirs it with a chopstick,
Mhm.
and then it's when it's ready, pours it out onto a tray with sugar, then presses it flat, then presses the mold, adds pressure, and then that's it. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, okay. But yeah, but you could see the sugar change from kind of solid to a very, very liquid thing, and then it cools to harden. So yeah,
But
it's
it's just
a
sugar. It has no water.
no, this one's just no water. It's literally
Mm.
just sugar. It's kind of creepy. But oh, randomly adds baking soda towards the end
Mm.
when it's already liquid. So fascinating stuff.
So going back, honey has been a favorite sweet treat throughout recorded history, and it's even mentioned in the Bible.
Mm.
Ancient Egyptians, Arabs, and Chinese candied fruits and nuts in honey, which is an early form of candy.
Well, that makes sense.
One of the oldest hard candies is barley sugar, which is made from barley grains. Mayans and Aztecs both prized the cacao bean and were the first to drink chocolate. Um, and then the first chocolate candy bars, according to the site, were by Joseph Fry in 1849
Ooh, I wonder if that's contested.
using bittersweet chocolate. I'm sure it's contested. That's why
We're
yeah.
just citing it's from this website. We're not claiming to be experts,
And the
nor do
website,
we.
I like to think, did its research because it's their brand, it's their thing.
It is interesting that there's a website as specific as candyhistory.net. Like, wow. Okay, let's be dedicated to
Hmm.
candy.
So, um, of course, we have Filipino candy, which we'll talk about in a bit. Um, but generally, candy, you cannot separate sugar from candy as far as the basic definition is concerned.
And then it's like interesting how like candy as a whole doesn't just cover the sugar-based stuff, but then
Hmm.
also includes chocolate. And I don't know why
Yes.
there's an exception for that. And hey, Lanchi's here. Hello.
Hey, Lanchi.
Okay, so wow, and I'm looking at the Wikipedia thing and like there's so many aspects to talk about. So I think we can go simpler and just like what are candies you most fondly remember while growing up?
So yeah, Philippines had its share of very notable candies
Okay.
in our childhood. One of the universal ones that so many know is the White Rabbit candy,
Mm,
which was like I don't know, was it a nougat milk thing?
yeah.
Which was I guess part of the popularity was because it was wrapped with this rice paper thing that you could eat. So you could eat the wrapper, which was such a
Now, and this may be a Mandela thing. Were all white candy wrappers edible? Because I
no.
feel like there were some that were in
Yes.
plastic.
Yes.
right?
And there were white rabbit that were locally produced that were not wrapped in edible.
An edible
Yeah.
material. I mean, like the outer coating is always plastic, but then the inner one, like the little
Yeah.
seemingly wax paper directly on the candy was that. Okay. So you just like the weirdness
Mhm.
of it.
And then there's Bazooka Joe or Bazooka Bubblegum. Very popular during our childhood. Very quick to run out of flavor.
Did you honestly like Bazooka
I
Joe?
like Big Boy one.
Okay.
But Bazooka
Hey,
had
you
comics.
big boy. Okay, yeah, that was the only claim to fame to Bazooka. They had these really old,
Hey
timey
Mitch.
wimey comics,
Yes.
but the gum itself
Was not
was
that popular.
was very hard to
Mm-mm.
get started, and then yeah, the flavor experience only lasted like a brief
But not
time.
as fast as Big Boy, which literally boom flavor then disappears while you're chewing it.
Okay, okay, I'm not that much of a gum
Mhm.
connoisseur.
Peter's Butterball was popular in Halloween. No one I knew liked it.
I didn't like Peter's
I don't
Butterball.
know anyone
Okay,
who liked it.
in general, I will admit, and I was thinking about this earlier, like before the episode, I realized I've never been a super big fan of hard candies.
Hmm.
So whether it's lollipops or, I mean, like, I appreciate them more like as, uh, they're just things to do to pass the time. Like
Hmm.
you suck on a hard candy and you wait for it to dissolve, but that's about it.
Lanchi mentions Tarzan gum.
Unfamiliar.
Tristan mentions it's like chewing a pink eraser.
Yes,
Yeah.
Bazooka. It was just an eraser.
Then there's Mick Mick, the sweetened milk powder. I think my encounters with Mick Mick, or at least a similar product, was more in those plastic. They look like small
Looked like
cans.
pseudo soda cans, and then
Yeah,
it was like milk powder inside.
those are fun.
Okay. Mitch says, "What are those orange triangle thingies using Halloween serpent to miss?" That's candy corn. And I appreciate it, but yeah, it's way too much sugar. Okay.
Hmm.
What else you got
Okay, so
in this list of Philippine treats?
of course, there's chocolate.
Chocolate's amazing. I mean, like
Chocolate, I still enjoy chocolate,
I
and it's
I c-
competitive.
I kind of miss it.
Competition honey.
Honey, with although same company ultimately
Yeah, but
produces both.
honey is wetter,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whereas chocolate is drier.
And yeah,
And admittedly, in as much as I like both, there's a local variant that used to be done by some entrepreneur, which I liked more.
mm,
Because same idea, it's powdered um, peanut chocolate combination, but then he kind of pressed it more, so it felt closer to. What would be a good example? Oh, see, I can't think of a good example, but it felt like a denser chocolate, which I really like. You could
mm.
like bite it and it doesn't like break
And
apart.
then I think it always amused me because chocolate was like very and I could be wrong, but at least for me, it felt very distinctly Filipino.
Yes.
Like uh, most candies, you can compare it and think of it having a Western counterpart. Like there are
Hmm.
a lot of hard candies out there, a lot of gums out there, but then chocolate's like, what the hell is this, right? It's this crumbly chocolate. So it that I appreciate.
So interestingly, Chocolate official name is King Chocolate Milk Chocolate.
I believe this.
And if you look at the wrapper, you see it.
Yeah,
King Chocolate
the
Milk Chocolate.
there's a little crown
And
on it.
people never really pay attention to it.
Well, because
Um,
it's just chalk. That's the big letters.
got popular in the 1970s and still remains popular now. Supposedly, the owners remain very shy and secretive as to why that's the name of the product.
Maybe it is nothing more creative than it is chocolate
Mhm.
with peanut. But hey,
Okay. Then going back, didn't Bazooka Bubblegum have the Popeye comics? No, no, it had its own
it had
Bazooka.
its own brand because it was Bazooka Joe.
Yeah, which one had Popeye?
I don't remember
There was
Popeye,
something that had Popeye. I can't remember. Anyway, Max's Candies, popular for everyone who has ever had to commute.
but I feel like more than Max, I think the more prevalent, at least for our generation, was probably Stork.
Yes,
Was
Stork.
probably Stork.
And later on, Copico.
Yeah,
Because the coffee candies were just
and
really.
it was such an extreme because like Stork at the end was like later on could be sold to like freshen your breath
Mhm,
because it had menthol.
mhm.
Max, some of them were mentholy, but they had more fruity
Fruity.
flavors.
Yes.
And then Copico made your mouth taste like crap
Mhm.
because it is literally condensed coffee flavor in your mouth. Okay.
Then of course, chocolate and honey has its counterpart, which is flat tops and curly tops.
It fascinates me that the company decided to come up with these. Oh, Lance, you mentioned Halls. I forgot about Halls mental.
Halls,
That's
yes,
a good one.
Halls man.
Okay, so curly tops and flat tops. That it's the same. It's no, they're Racoa, but then slightly different formulation, supposedly
Hmm.
marked by the topping, but the shape. Um,
So according to this website, um, when the factory tried to automate this
Esquire.
candy wrapping process,
Okay.
the machine couldn't do the swirl, and
Mm.
that's why they were forced to come up with a new name for it.
Yeah, and then like curly tops were super like I mean like the earlier generation of curly tops was really it came in a box with
Yes,
those individual wax paper
yeah,
things per cup and the swirl.
and it was always such a challenge to remove the wax paper
Yeah, without
without.
losing chocolate.
So if the Squid Game was in the Philippines,
Oh,
our Dalgona game would be.
removing the wrapper without destroying either the
Mhm.
wrapper or the chocolate.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
that would be it.
Tristan adds Stork was the preferred candy of smokers. It was
Mhm.
a very potent menthol
I
flavor.
remember some schoolmates who would have a Stark with their cigarette, so the cigarette would feel menthol without buying menthols.
Oh, okay, okay. I can believe that. Stark was strong enough for that.
Mhm.
Okay, there's your white
So
rabbit.
White Rabbit, as mentioned,
Oh
nationalized.
wow, look, they were first called Mickey Mouse Sweets,
Mhm.
and they had Mickey Mouse on it.
But then the private companies were nationalized and Western iconography became politically insensitive, so the makers changed the mouse to a rabbit and called it White Rabbit.
Very literal name.
Hmm.
But what did they describe it as? What exactly is it? Did they say at the top?
No.
No, it's just candy. Okay, okay.
Then, of course, there's Nips.
Which I think in later generations more popular for a theme song than the candy
Hmm.
itself.
So, Nip supposedly comes from a spin on the reverse of the word spin, which is one of the steps in the
What?
manufacturing process.
What? Okay, I've never heard this. This is amazing. Okay, thank you, Esquire. All right.
I like Nips, and I hated the fact that I totally believed there were different flavors depending on the product.
Oh, because what goes on before they touch your lips, they make a rainbow.
So I'd like, separate the colors, and then mine's the red versus the.
That just makes you look a little OC
And
coming
then
from
and then
someone.
there was that hand thing, right?
Oh, because it became a game. Because you could do the song to the
Yeah.
rhythm. You want to
I
see
don't.
what happens in a bag
Yeah, and
of
then the
nips.
rainbow.
Chocolate nips
I
from
don't
the
remember it
rainbow.
anymore, but I used to remember
Nips,
it.
nips. Then they color all the flowers and they bake the trees. They're sweet and delicious. Look at all. So
Not
on the side
sponsored.
note, I always felt like the tiering of these candy coated chocolates was like Smarties, Nips, M&Ms.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like and it's actually the
And
degree.
Smarties always had this chalky flavor to
Yeah,
it.
Smarties had some of the softest candy
Mm-hmm.
coating, but then like the flavor wasn't great. And
Mm-hmm.
then Nips had a nice rich chocolate taste, and then the candy, but was still kind of delicate. And then M&M's was like a lot harder candy shells.
But then you'll
Um,
paint your fingers and the mouths very quickly.
well, if they're not supposed to melt in your hand,
Excuse
that
me.
means they've been there too long. Okay, and if you eat them in pairs, like if you get a regular size bag of M&Ms and M's and you
Mm-hmm.
eat them in pairs, you will find there is a half nip every time. I have half M&M, and the actual number of M&Ms is not divisible by two. It never is. Darn half M&M. Okay.
Of course, Lanchi adds not a candy, but we used to buy White Rabbit and Haw Flakes. Haw
Oh, that's
Flakes.
Tristan.
Oh, sorry, that's just a Haw Flakes. Okay, I am still a sucker for Haw Flakes. I've been tempted to order Haw
Ho ho
Flakes.
ho ho ho.
I love eating
And
Haw
what
Flakes.
is it exactly, right? It's such a
I
bizarre
know. It's
flavor.
probably flattened MSG or something, but it's like really nice, sweet, salty joy.
And Lanchi adds that you play mass with Flakes. Yes, I think no
Everyone,
child has gotten
yeah.
past the fact that sooner or later you offer it up as
Or
the
so
host.
there's the host play, or there's the put it in your tongue and leave it there as long as you can until you end up
Oh,
chewing
yeah.
it.
Which I feel like it kind of, the flavor is very strong, kind of numbs you a bit. if you leave it too long.
And it doesn't really melt. Like, okay.
Okay,
Then there's Lala.
not the cracker.
So Lala was the milk chocolate, which I always felt it was a wafer, but the name comes from the founders' four children: Louis, Arlette, Louisa, and Arlene. So
Oh,
Lala.
that's a classic naming strategy. You know,
And if you look at the brand,
Yeah.
it is L star
A star, L star.
A star. But I don't know why it's classic.
flash, minor facts is that we used to have a drugstore and it was called Miramic because
Mhm.
it was Mina Rocky Miko. It was us siblings. So okay.
Okay, so that is the list from the Esquire site. There's another list from aboutfilipinofood.com. So of course we can start with stuff that we tend to see sold often. Yema, which is condensed milk with egg yolks,
Okay,
was never a fan.
I never got in. I never actually I had not tasted Yema until like my call center days.
Okay,
Like because it was something that was normally sold at the office pantry
and
for some
there are
reason.
those the triangle
And they're
ones
yeah, they're
in
sold in
cellophane.
and it's yeah, it's a weird like what do you call that? I'm trying to think of the shape. Isohedron, I don't know. So
Hmm.
it's a thing.
There's the Pinoy version of the sarbol, yaki, we think.
I am unfamiliar with
Okay.
Yaki.
Those hard candies, the red lips for instant lipstick.
Oh,
Yes.
I remember though, and it was like a weird set of like hard candies like that because there were the lips, there
Mm-mm.
was the ring,
Mm-mm.
and that was a terrible thing. Like number one, I already said I wasn't a big fan of hard candy, and then number two, ring pops. As you eat them, sooner or later, there's drippage, and it's a mix of your saliva and the
Yes.
candy melting, and then it just gets you so
So it's
sticky.
more fun when you're like making out than having it.
What 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 adult will take you seriously if you're eating a ring pop as you're making out?
Moving on, pastillas, soft milk candy.
Oh yeah.
Now I admit I had a super pastillas face. Like I
Okay.
had boxes and I'd go through them because it's like you're eating sand and you can like.
So many of Toby's favorite food experiences is because he can describe it like you're not eating food.
But this,
White rabbit because you're eating paper. Pastillas because it's like you're eating
but
sand.
was I the only one who had a bunch of pastillas out of the wrappers? Then I'd crush them and then make a small castle and then was I the only one? I don't think so. I'm sure others did that. Tira candy from the Sari Sari store.
Or it's like no, I appreciate the economy where like if they don't have change
mm,
and then they'll offer you like
candy
get two
instead.
pesos of candy or something.
Which then later flips to pagka inutusan ka to buy something. Oh, saan yung sukle? Wala eh. And then you show candy because you bought, but then you.
Yeah.
Jed shares SAR at my sugar coating yummy. Mm. Okay, so let's look at this list. So you have everything from Jack and Jill, XO, Viva, Bot, Honey, Chocolate, Stay Fresh. Oh, Stay Fresh. Those are the green circle ones that look like the air fresheners.
And then like Stay Fresh, I think is less remembered as a candy and more as a weapon.
Yes.
And so many school uniforms
Lalo
were
na with
ruined
the straw.
with a straw and a freaking Stay Fresh, and then it leaves this green stain on
Mm.
your white
And then
uniform.
you have Butter Kissed, you have Voz School Mental, you have Butter Kissed Butter Flavored Balls, you have Imik, you have Monami Strawberry and Creamy, you have
Monami
yeah, yung Jumpy Pass.
buttercream.
You have
Monami,
Frutos Soft Chewy Candy.
Monami has a
You
lot.
have Fruichi Duo Berry. You have um, Champy Eclairs, Champy Emma. Um, yeah,
It's super just like a list.
Candy Mint, the green
I
one, the
never
green
encountered
menthol.
this.
I've
Kendi
Yeah,
candy
it
mint.
has that like Eskimo guy in the front. I only remember getting this from Halloween
Jed
parties.
was asking about Yema. Oh, you came in late. We just talked about Yema
Yeah,
earlier. It
yeah,
is a
man.
local candy.
Mhm. Okay, let's talk about Choco Choco.
Oh my god.
Choco are these
Choco
plastic, think
Choco.
straws, but then you tear off the top and then you squeeze or you suck on it because it's like
It's just
chocolate
filled
goodness.
with melted chocolate. It's like liquid chocolate in a liquidy form.
Yes.
And then you end up like really sucking on plastic by the end
Mm.
because you're trying to like get every last dreg until like okay, you're clearly eating the plastic at this point. But yeah, and because that was a weird like it was a weird thing because it was really just like it's just melted chocolate in a
Mhm.
container.
But then I remember I had school friends who would open it and then they'd squeeze it on bread,
Mm, mm.
pampalaman.
And this is like pre-crumpy days, you
Mhm.
know, so legit. I wonder if it's still around. Okay.
There's Pajaskas, which is a sweet treat of liquefied palm sugar
Oh, I've never
placed
even
in a
tried that.
mold of palm leaves.
Okay.
Um, there's Butong Butong, which was an Ilonggo sweet.
Not familiar.
Pochi,
Pochi.
which is those gummy candies that were rolled up into sugar. They always looked really yummy, especially the strawberry cream, which is the pink and white ones.
Yeah, and then like when we would go to candy corner, they had something equivalent. It was probably pochi, but then
Mm.
like you could pick them out. That was always like a fun treat
Mm.
to have, like And I'm not like necessarily a big fan of all chewy ones, but this was stood out.
There's belekoy, which is a sweet thing that's
With
rolled up into
sesame.
sesame seeds.
Okay,
Um, that's,
ads.
yeah. Um, Makapuno candy, never a
I've
fan.
never tried.
Was never a fan. I'm not sure who was, but I was never a fan. Um, so Bobot were those candy coated peanuts.
Oh, I
You
remember
remember
these,
that?
but I remember these more like you're more likely to see them in a party bag,
Yes,
in
or
a
Halloween. The giveaways in
yeah,
Halloween.
yeah. It's the candy you don't buy for yourself. It's the candy you get on the cheap to give away.
And then before Mentos won the world, we had Coolem soft chewy mints, which are individually packed circle things. But then Mentos came in a roll, so bigla na lang, why buy that when you can get a roll?
And an amazing advertising campaign of magic things that people could do with Mentos freshness.
Yes, Bobot came in packs of three or four,
Yeah.
depending on the size of the peanut. Pulveron was one of the things which blew my mind when I first encountered it. To the point that when I would travel, I would bring Pulveron because I'm thinking no one else in the world has tried this. And of course, later on, I had foreigner friends who were like, "Oh yeah, it's powdered sugar, right?" So,
I have, and my grandma made this.
mhm.
Like, and then we would spend all afternoon. She had the little springy pulveron press
Yeah, yeah,
thing,
yeah. That small press
and
thing.
it was really a long day of scraping the side and then poke, and then
Yeah.
scraping the side and then poke, and then it broke. Put it back in, remold it.
Hmm.
So much work. So much work.
And it just tells you why deconstructed Pulveron is stupid.
Even if it comes from places like Wildflower. No.
Okay, Rico Nuts, which was
Oh
basically
wow. I remember
think
this,
flat tops
but with
with
nuts
cashew
inside.
nuts. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I remember this. And it was always like because I wasn't a big fan of nuts and chocolate. So it was like it's the other one. It's not the flat
It
top
felt like the more expensive one.
because it has nuts. And I didn't know it was cashews. Wow,
Yeah.
good job.
There's Bukayo, a sweet coconut treat.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, peanut kisses.
Peanut kisses. So peanut kisses were one of my guilty pleasures because they were nicely crunchy. They'd
Yeah.
break apart into this nice brittle thing when
But
you
at the
eat
same
them.
time, it almost felt like they were like exposed to air too long. But that's really the texture kasi.
Yes.
It had this weird powdery texture as you bite
Mm-mm.
through it. And it's such a classic like take home from the province type treat.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Ha ha.
How milk candies. I never got into them.
So sweet.
And I
So
was
so
always
sweet.
weirded out that it had that mint green
Color.
color
Which had nothing to do with
for a
it.
cow brand.
Yeah, yeah. And funny because in theory the flavor profile is similar to pastillas. Or
Mm.
especially if you get the less chewy pastillas, those harder ones, then it kind of tastes like ho.
So Jed, you mentioned this earlier, but the Yaki Super Asim Gumball.
That was Lanchi, I
Oh, that
think.
was Lanchi.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's in the
Mm.
list.
Okay.
Okay, so Tamarind Candy,
All variants of
Sampalok.
sampalok. Oh my god.
I used to eat a version of this, the one that had lots of veins. It's
Oh, so it's like the candied sampalok,
yes.
and
So
then
like
it
when you
comes
eat
like
it,
that.
you have all
Yeah,
those veins left behind. And I remember, it was part delight, part horror, because the veins just were really like veins.
that's why you liked it
Yes.
because it felt organic.
So I did not know that Haw Flakes is also known as Osca.
Och or ocha.
Yeah, they're delicious tart sweets made from the fruit of the Chinese hawthorn tree.
Oh, what is a hawthorn tree? We
I
should
will
look that
now
up.
check it out. Oh
Oh, it's like berries.
wow!
Hawthorn, quickthorn, thornapple, may tree. Shrubs and trees, northern hemisphere, Europe, Asia, North Africa, South America. Ah.
And the seeds were poisonous.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
How interesting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, stay fresh is there.
Evil stay fresh.
So Pastillas de Yema, I'll just have to bring this up because it's from Villa Escudero. Um, it's basically pastillas that had a yema
Center.
add-on and a yema core. That was pretty yummy. So frutos, we talked about frutos. It did come in different flavored fruits. A bag would have 50 fruits. There's grape, lemon, orange, and strawberry. And then there was the tropical fruits line that had mango, tamarind, lychee, and poncan.
Pongkan na pongkan.
I remember only liking the orange.
I think I like grape too, but I generally like grape. And then the lemon was mild. It wasn't like as sour as you wanted it to be. I don't remember the tropical variant.
Mm.
That's interesting.
And then yeah, I guess that's the main list. There's of course the candy from fruits, roots, and the like, which includes everything from sampalok to kamyas to pinagsugbo, mangga, luya. You have pakumbo, bukayo,
Ah, okay.
panocha.
I was like, why did Mitch say marigold? Ah, kasi it's one of the sampalok candy
Yes.
things. If you look at the one in the jar.
Mm-mm. And then
Okay.
kiamoy, of course,
My mom loves all of those things. Like,
and champoy.
and there's the irony of later in life, you could go to Aji Ichiban, which is a very Japanese name for for a store,
Yeah.
but buy all these Chinese preserved treats in Aji Ichiban. So, um, different stuff. I mean, I tried some. But so much like I see the order now. I'm like thinking the sourness and the compressed flavor, whether it's the dry ones or the kind of in a preservative liquid. It's like so much.
And then with the advent of PX good shops and candy stores,
PX goods.
that's when we started to see a lot of candies that really tried to win you over with concept.
Mm.
Yeah. So you had the foot long bubble gum that came in this
In the tape
can.
dispenser,
Yes.
I was literally first thinking of the bubble gum.
Did you try wrapping yourself around it?
No, I never got it because okay, I wasn't a super big fan of gum either. Because
Mm.
gum always felt like you're just fooling yourself because you get the flavor for a while and then you're left with like I'm just chewing, and then I could never blow bubbles efficiently.
Mm.
The few times I would try to blow bubbles, I would have gum flying across the room.
I stopped eating gum after my tragic braces gum accident of
Oh
chewing gum,
my!
then falling asleep, and then waking up to have it all trapped.
Oh
And
my!
yeah,
That's terrible. And
panic.
then gum always, you cannot escape the possibility of eating gum with your parents telling you all these horror stories about if you swallow the gum, a bubblegum tree will grow in your stomach.
Yours was the bubblegum tree. Mine was it will stay there and not decompose for ganyan years.
Okay, okay.
And then of course gummy bears, sour candies, pixie dust.
Okay, so wait. Gummy bears. Did you like gummy bears? Because Mina loved gummy bears. My sister. She super loved gummy bears.
I love gummy bears for the fact you could eat the head of one, the body of the other, and then reconstruct them to gummy bear. Or you can like super squeeze it, and then when you look, it's like
Okay. All right. One of my fondest gummy memories would have to be I remember we were in the US and then we groceryed somewhere
mm-hmm,
and we rode in the back of a pickup truck, of my uncle's pickup truck.
mm-hmm.
And then there was a barrel of gummy dinosaurs.
Okay.
And I remember eating gummy dinosaurs in the back of the pickup truck as we drove home. And it
Mm-hmm.
was this wild experience because it was exposed to air or on the freeway or whatever. And like, wow, okay. Mitch asked red vine or
The Twizzlers,
Twizzlers.
yeah.
I don't like those things.
I never like licorice.
I don't like licorice.
I never could take the taste. I know friends who are like super into it. It's like it's the fruit cake of candies for me.
Our candy, I didn't realize our candy perspectives were more similar than I thought. Our reasons and rationale are very different, but we seem to like a lot of the same things.
Do you remember the candy that came in like hair?
What?
I think it was still gum in the end, but it came like in this floss of pink in a bag,
I don't know this.
and then you can like rip it apart. You can like eat
Which is
it.
now that's your USP that you can rip it apart.
Hmm.
A side note, we could probably take a moment to talk about crazy things like Pez.
Mm.
I super like Pez dispensers, but the candy that you actually get was not great, and it did not seem worth having a whole dispenser filled with them
Yes.
because candy.
But what you sold was really the
The
dispenser. So you
dispen
had all these
because later, yeah,
characters.
character heads and all
Yeah.
that, but it was just weird that their head pops back and then a candy comes out. On a similar note, there were Tic Tacs,
Hmm.
which pound per pound felt like they were much weaker mints
Hmm.
than like a Storks or a Halls. But
Hmm.
then it was a foreign brand primarily, so then it was like, ooh, Tic Tacs.
Tootsie Rolls. Did you ever get into Tootsie Rolls?
I like Tootsie Rolls, but I
Hmm.
like Tootsie Rolls on their own. I
Hmm.
didn't like them when they were at the center of a lollipop. Then I could just like all this work just so that I can get to my Tootsie Roll. What a ripoff! I'll just buy Tootsie Rolls. Okay, nerds.
Nerds.
I thought I would like nerds more, but it is literally too sweet. It
Hmm.
is it is painfully sweet.
And then it's deceptive how they try to sell you flavors. And
But then you
after a
just mix them
while,
all into
yeah,
a
after a while they all just taste the same.
yeah, yeah.
But it was nice seeing those split ones wherein you'd have openings on one side and the
Oh
other.
yes, there were always like these two flavor packs, and then it was just like sweet and sour sweet. It was just like that was the extent of the
So
difference.
mid shares, there was a proper way to get a Tic Tac.
Yeah, which I feel like is just an internet rationalization, but we
Yeah,
accept
for
it as
me it was
true.
a stupid one. I mean, they were saying you hold it upside down and you click it like that, but then the other things might spill out if you do it wrong. So I don't think that was intentional.
And then
Um,
marshmallows.
Marshmallows.
Okay, okay.
Then we have the chocolate bars, everything from Butterfingers to Hershey's to
Although I
Twix.
think did we
Yeah,
do a
we did
chocolate
an
episode?
episode where we cover that,
Yeah.
so we don't need to go into detail on that. Um, so going back, do you remember Airheads?
I remember the name. I can't remember what they are.
So those were those flat, fruity plastic things you can eat.
USP. This like Toby USP. They're like
There.
plastic. Okay.
So they were like this flat.
Oh, I remember now. They're
Yeah.
like fruit roll-ups,
Yes.
right? Okay, 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 okay.
So that was Airheads, and then what were the other candies at that time? You have the Crybabies, which are the sour candies. You have the icebreakers,
Okay.
jawbreakers, the
Yeah.
jawbreakers.
And I think about because your most common encounter with candies are probably loot bags or goodie bags or whatever
Mm.
you call them. So your loot bag, by definition, for some reason, must include at least one lollipop.
Mhm.
Will include um one type of gum, most likely bazooka, and then will include one gold coin, right? A
Mhm.
gold coin, probably the fruit one, the chewy fruit stuff, fruit and whatnot, and then uh what's this? And what's the brand? But the gold brick,
Mm.
because apart from the coin,
What does we Goya?
Yeah, Goya, the Goya bricks, which were like shaped like gold bullion, but they were just tiny, delightful, solid chocolate
Mm.
experiences, and I super looked for those every time in the bag, and then then you might get like a mini pack of Smarties, you might get a Mick Mick, you might get a whatever. I love the adventure of the goodie bag,
Mm.
but it's just funny that okay, here's my lollipop, and then like I have to eat the lollipop.
So Mitch mentions nagpa-pop-pop candy sa mouth.
Oh, Pop
That's Pop
Rocks.
Rocks.
I've only tried Pop Rocks like a couple of times in my life, and then I go like, oh my god, what is this?
I enjoyed Pop Rocks. They were always fun,
Mm.
especially when you start chewing them.
See, Tristan said my favorite loot bag item was the confectioner sugar you'd suck with a tiny straw. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then sold in what appears to be a soda can.
Mm-mm.
because,
I did there
but
were versions of that were like powdered milk in a milk
yeah,
bottle,
yeah, I remember these things.
cola, and the 7 Up Sprite.
Mm.
There were the saltwater taffys.
That's something like I only see on TV. Like I don't think I've ever
Oh, you
tried
never
it.
got
I
these.
don't think I've ever tried saltwater taffy.
And then milk duds.
Oh, we should talk about your Maltesers.
Why? What about my Maltesers?
You really like Maltesers.
Yeah, they're really yummy.
What is this? What is this? They're really yummy.
Mm-mm. And then if you're able to afford the more expensive version, you get Ferrero.
Wow, that's our evolution. Maltesers grew up to be
Because they're
Ferrero.
kind of like the same, species, right? If chocolates were Pokemon, you have you have the Choco Balls to Maltesers to Ferrero.
This is the closest that Toby will get to talking about Pokemon for someone who has not played the game.
Have any of you ever tried the Atomic Fireballs candy?
Oh, I don't. I mean, I know that they're like they're spicy, right?
Yeah,
It was
those
a
were the
spicy
red
candy.
spicy candies.
I don't like. I
It
mean, I don't remember trying it.
Admittedly, it was the candy that made me think I don't like cinnamon
Because
because it
that was
had
like a lot of the
cinnamon.
heat.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Kaya pala si Toby na palagi nasa pila ng chocolate and candy sa grocery. I've noticed this as well. It's not necessarily the best cue,
I'm I'm
but
just
it's the cue that Toby
I'm just
takes.
absorbing the presence of joy in the
Mm.
supermarket. Starburst.
Ooh, Starburst is the fancy frutas. It's like, ooh, PX goods, you have Starburst
Oh, sige,
candy.
but what is it? Is it like the top evolution, or is it like the middle, and then there's something higher pa?
No, it's just City Mouse, Country Mouse. It's the same thing, but different packaging and came from a different country.
Wouldn't the top level of Starburst be um there was that candy that when you bite it, there's the liquid burst of flavor inside.
Oh yeah, I
You remember
remember. I
that?
don't remember the name, but I remember that. But then but admittedly, once you tried like the frutas ones, they had a more potent flavor than
Mm-hmm.
Starburst. I
Mm.
think. Yeah, that's what you're saying, Jed. That other than Starburst, there was the fruit ones,
The
frutas
frutos,
one,
frutos.
frutos.
Then lifesavers.
Oh, lifesavers! I remember these, but in this is the worst country to like buy lifesaver because more often than not they get stuck together in the
Mm. And
wrapper
the
because of
humidity
the heat.
kills it.
Like it's fine when you buy it from the store, but once you have a lifesavers in your bag, oh my god! Then you remember when lifesavers tried to do a munchkin,
Yes.
and they sold the holes.
Yeah.
So stupid, so stupid.
Lifesaver holes, lifesaver ducks. I think.
Something like
Yeah.
that. I can't remember.
Razzlers, um, Twizzlers, as already mentioned. Candy Corner, of course, is infamous for the huge line of gummy slash gelatin candies.
Hmm.
So from the gummy bears to the gummy fish to the gummy tongues to the gummy soda bottles to the gummy teeth to the
I appreciate soda flavored candy. I mean, like the few times that you try soda flavored candy, like, oh, it really does taste like soda. Okay. Oh my god, runts.
So we have to talk about runts
Oh my god,
because
runts.
runts, I think, in many ways coded us to want meeples.
No, I think it coded us to want to eat board game components because they were really hard,
Runts,
especially those bananas.
yes, runts were those candies that looked like the fruit. So you had roughly an apple shape because it wasn't round. It had like little
They were all
bumps,
just ovals,
and
yeah,
then
but the
you had
bananas were so
bananas.
distinct. But the bananas were painful.
Mhm.
Oh, Mitch is asking, what is the candy na parang lifesaver but caramel? What was that? Caramel lifesaver? Because after lifesavers, we went on to like Polo the mint with the hole, right? And then that was such a strong campaign to get
Yeah,
us to eat
I
that
remember
candy.
Rolo, which was chocolate, but I think that's different from what
Mm-mm.
she's asking.
Runs was fancy. Runs was like high end PX goodness. Like wow, you got runs. Okay, all right, all right. What else you got in your list? We can't figure out your thing, Mitch. We're trying to search right now. We're not sure.
We'll keep looking. Yeah, a lot of these are
Oh,
chocolates.
oh, those stupid hard candies shaped like a flute. Remember? Oh, a whistle, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And then you can use it to blow stuff, to blow
Oh, and then
sounds.
wasn't it
The
there
stick.
was one with the stick, and then you could literally play songs, but then you end up with very sticky hands after again. Okay. Um.
So you had the whistle pops or the chupa chups melody pops.
Oh yes, that was the oh
Kasi
chupa
there
chup
was the
fancy
whistle candy, which was in bilog lang na may hole sa
that you
gitna.
just which is essentially a polo that you put in your
But
mouth.
it was hollow in the middle.
Yeah, and then you could blow through.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the whistles were chupa chups because it had the stick.
Okay, we gotta take a moment to talk about the Chupa Chups lollipop empire. I mean, like, it amazes me that they have dedicated their life to lollipops. And then while I'm not a big fan of hard candy, I kind of like the Chupa Chups that had like a milkier flavor.
Hmm.
Like it had a caramel coating or stuff. And then later on, the annoying chocolate at the middle, which is like, so much work. Mitch is sharing that the one she's trying to remember begins with the letter W. The lifesaver na caramel. What is that? Oh yeah, and there were lollipops with gum inside. Jed was right. Which
Hmm.
I think was the worst version of the one with the chocolate.
Yeah.
Cause then like I'd have to super work through it. Well, worse for annoyance, but the eating experience was actually more fun now that I think about it. Because when you finally got to the gum core, you probably still had some fragments of the lollipop. And so as you chewed the gum, you'd have crunchy bits. That was fun. Werther's original yung caramel candy. Werther's butter candies. Oh, thank you, Tristan, also over on YouTube. I'm not familiar. Not familiar. So yeah, it's again Werther's original.
There, yeah. That's the name.
Okay.
Werther's. Okay.
Were there candies that you would actually take the time to buy for yourself? I mean, like, because candy is typically associated with holidays, events, parties, and that's where most of my candies came from. I would rarely buy for myself, except maybe chocolate.
my younger years, I was super really buying Airheads and the Star candies.
Okay.
Because like there was that PX store near the grocery, so I'd bike there from the house in Tahanan, and then I'd buy, and that was my thing. That was my vice when I was younger.
Hmm. I'm trying to think, did I do anything similar? But not really. I was a bit of a miser. So
Mhm.
it's like I saved a lot of coins and then eventually deposited them all in the bank and like I made a fair amount of money. So I didn't really buy incidental things. And also because since I had packed lunches most of my life, I really wasn't supposed to buy things. And then like it was it's dangerous to go out. We weren't even the type growing up. I barely got to go to sari sari stores. It's like you
Mhm.
don't leave the house. So eh. Okay, moment of all those stupid gummy type things shaped like other food.
Mhm.
Which like trolley or
Yeah,
something?
trolley. The ones that look like a burger. The one that's like
Burger,
hot dogs.
pizza, which is like they look very novel, but then when you finally try one, it's like
They all taste the same.
and they're not very flavorful. They're quite bland.
Here, this is the one I was looking for.
Oh my gosh.
Dinosaur bones. This was one of the ones I really, really got
Wow, and the
into.
website that's listing it is like vintage 1970s
Do you
dinosaur
remember
bones.
these?
I don't remember this candy.
These were hard, powdery candies. There, that were in the shape of bones.
And like the classic like dog bone treat,
Yeah, but the
shake bone.
later some of the later boxes kinda tried to help you build a dinosaur.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, I have fond memories of the dinosaur bones.
Tristan shares, Werther's and Fox's crystal candy were usually candies brought by my Lala from the US. Yes, Fox's. At that, there was a time that Foxes were such a status, an indirect flex status symbol, right? Because they were just hard candies, but then very fancy. And I don't know why I
Mm-mm.
super love the grape. The
Mm.
grape flavored Foxes were like nicely subtle. I mean, like they were sweet, but they were overwhelming, and I just really like them. I think that also led to me always gravitating to look for a grape flavor versus strawberry, because strawberry was always like too much.
So there was also the Mr. Bones candy.
Look at all these candies that Toby's digging up, literally because
Um,
they look like
so
bones.
the Mr. Bones candies had slots. You could literally
Interconnect.
interconnect the pieces, and then the container was a coffin. See, there, yeah, look at that.
This is the man I'm spending the rest of my life with.
And yes, it came with many. There was the trash cans. There was the coffins. Oh my gosh, look at that! Look at that! Look at all that! Ooh, wow. The mailboxes there.
How about you folks in the audience? What are unusual candies that you remember that maybe, we may have forgotten?
I'm trying to remember the name of that candy that has the juice inside.
But I know it was like a taffy like thing. Hmm. Mm, mm, mm.
Here, I think it's the Freshen Ups. Yeah, it's this.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
The
Okay.
Freshen Ups, which were these odd gum that you'd bite and then it'll be a burst of water flavor.
Mitch like chocolate rock pebble something,
Yeah, candy,
which is more like chocolate covered little things like.
And then you had those fake cigarettes that were actually more chewable gum. You had Astro
Ha!
Pops.
Tristan cites Turkish Delight. To this day, I have not actually eaten Turkish Delight.
I
I have only seen it described in
Yeah, I
Narnia.
think I think I've been wanting to try that, but I don't think I've really tried
But
it.
it's like the candy of evil. It's like it's what's offered to you as the literal sign of
Do you guys
temptation.
remember the Big League Chew? It were these foil packs that had sports
Oh, I
baseball
don't
guys,
know
and then it was
this.
just this frills of gum inside of it. Then the bubble tape,
Oh,
of
what was the?
course,
But wasn't there the bubble jug?
which is the powder.
Yeah, that was so weird. That was so weird. And then it could like reconstitute into like gum. Okay. They say it's a Turkish delight. It's an acquired taste. Okay.
And then
I.
the fun dips.
Mm.
You had the candy, a lollipop. Usually, you dip into the sugar, the powder sugar. You remember that?
Oh yeah, the little
The tops,
gums,
the tops juice bubble gums. They came in those cardboard
mini
cartons.
mini milk carton shaped
Yeah,
things, and then it was like these little random
irregularly shaped.
shapes,
Yeah.
but then you chew them together. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, it was lifesavers holes. I was right.
Mm. So yeah.
So stupid. So stupid. I've only had a jawbreaker once in my life, and then it was like, wow, why? What is the
I was
point of this?
afraid of jawbreakers.
Because you could literally break
Yeah.
something. And it was just very uncomfortable. And I tried to work on it for a while,
Hmm.
and then like literally like I had it wrapped, and then I put it in the fridge, and then like it just never ended.
Have you ever tried the push pops?
I remember, yeah, push pops are like in the same family as those darn ring pops, which means more candy on my hands.
Mm.
Wait, before that, when you scroll up, what's this? Up, up, up. Ouch, bubble gum. The bubble gum that were shaped like band aids. Well, actually, only the wrapper had a
Mhm.
band aid design on it, but the actual gum just looked like any other gum.
Sour Jacks was the other. Sour
It's only
Candy.
later in life that I came to appreciate sour
Mm-mm,
candies,
same.
especially those like sour gummy worms. Good stuff.
Tear Jerkers. That was the other brand.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Thunder Jet fruit snacks. These are the ones that had the toy jet.
Fancy PX stuff. Oh my god, tongue splashers.
The one that colors your tongue.
Yes, and that was it. They didn't taste great, but then you could tell someone ate one because his mouth would be like blackish green.
Mm-mm.
Blech.
There's the ring. Okay. I guess that covers all the candies we could think of. Yeah, I don't really see other things. There's the one that looks like feet. Yeah. Okay, these are just the usual, the same list of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funny feet. Okay, so I remember one of the things that also came out during that time, which weirded me out, were these little packets of meat.
Mm-hmm.
It was like,
Like jerky.
yeah, but it was like sold with the candies.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Occasionally, you
parang
would see
bacon
them
meat or your candied meat.
because it goes a little sweeter.
Mm-mm.
I don't I don't remember a brand, but I think I remember seeing jerkies alongside candy because it's like all the preserved stuff.
Mm-mm. I think this is a big league chew.
Isn't Big League Chew the one you talked about earlier
Yeah,
with the
that's the gum,
baseball?
man.
Ooh, why does it look like tobacco?
I think that was intentional.
Yeah, to make it look like chewing. Oh, cigarette gum.
Yeah,
Why? Who thought it was a good idea that kids should have candy that's shaped like cigarettes?
probably the cigarette companies.
Well, all these like I want to like have kids emulating things you do when you're older, and let's give them cigarettes. Why not? Why not? Sorry, we're looking at different weird lists of old food.
Fruit roll-ups. I
Yeah,
enjoyed fruit roll-ups.
clearly, because you like Airheads, the same thing. Mitch wants a gummy bear now. Sorry.
Gobstoppers, anti-snacks. Well, those aren't candies anymore, so
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
skipping those.
Wow, old nerds packaging. They've been around for a while.
Okay, so with that, um, to wrap it up, now that well, I'm keto adjacent and you're keto, so we've pretty much killed candies
So sorry.
in our usual grocery lists.
Yes.
Um, but we are starting to find other alternatives, which aren't necessarily candy, but are still to some level sweet.
Mm.
So, do you think any of those can translate to a candy?
Well, technically, chocolates are candies, so the
Mm-mm,
Nama chocolates count
mm-mm.
as candy, and then um, and then that's it. No.
Mitch mentions those chocolates and liquor bottles, the maliit na lasang alak. I never liked those.
Oh yeah, the adult chocolates
Yeah,
because
I never liked
they were
those.
liquor filled,
And
mostly rum
and I
based.
think I never liked them because back then they were a dark chocolate I didn't like.
Mm.
I
Okay.
think now I would like. I think because we tried the Nama chocolate liquor. I like it.
Okay.
I wonder why there never were seafood candies.
And what now?
Hmm.
Sige, explain.
Gummy squid. Well,
Do,
there were shark candies,
yeah,
like the Bones, Mr. Bones. There was a shark version of it.
I'm sure. Toby's USB bones.
Like Tootsie Rolls, bangus flavored. Yeah.
Why yeah? Why? That's just strange.
Okay, so to wrap up, since we don't really have candies anymore, um, we don't even have the candied stuff, like candied fruit, candied
Mm-hmm.
meats.
Sorry. Dried mangoes, whatnot.
Mm-mm. Did you ever get into the dried mangoes?
I love those. There was a time when, like, whenever it would be there, oh my god, then we would gobble it up.
Mhm.
It was one of those super indulgent treats, but wow, very sweet. Is there a keto candy? Not really.
Mm.
Unless you work with a lot of erythrosol, which means it's poopy candy.
It's sweet on your first serving. On by your second serving, you will use the bathroom.
Yeah, I react very strongly to excessive amounts of artificial sugar, so it's a challenge. Okay, um, but and then what I do miss though is like Halloween, like gi- I think I always wanted to be I wanted to grow up to be like someone who gives candy away for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
But then condos came around and then like, oh, you don't really have trick or treating except for certain condos. And
Mm-hmm.
then normally it's like a structured activity at the at the multi-purpose room, but
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily going door to door
Yeah,
in costumes.
we used to have little setups at the house
Nose
because we'd
itchy.
have the front porch, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'd have the door would open and there's a surprise, or in the plants there's things standing there and something.
Why do I feel like you're responsible for the thing standing there?
Of course. And there were some nights I'd be in costume, standing like a statue, and then the kids would be trick or treat, and no one's answering because the house knows I'm the one keeping watch. Trick or treat, and I'm just there not moving. Then ay walang tao. But then I'd make sure there's a bowl of candy and it has a sign, just get. So they start sneaking in carefully, and then and then they all scream and run away. And I'm like, oh, it's candy niyo. Halloween was fun.
Again, I will reiterate. This is the man I'm spending the rest of my life with. What a terror. Okay.
So yes, there aren't any keto candies, but if you do have candies for us, give them to me. I will still find a way to eat them or give them to other people,
Wait, you still have to finish my office candy for our company summit this year. Part of our
which
swag
is literally
box
sugar,
was was customized candy with our company
which is
logo.
pretty
It
awesome
was
to be
pretty
honest.
cute. But then like, oh my god, it's hard candy.
And oh my god, I am of that age that I don't just gobble it up that quickly anymore.
It is quite sweet. I tried one and like, oh, okay. Yeah, so but yeah, Toby continue to accept, candy
Would
gifts.
whipped cream be counted as candy?
I don't. Depending on there's not. Well, just whipped cream on its own actually doesn't have a lot of sugar.
Mm-mm. So
Um,
is it more
because typically
condiment?
it's heavy cream. I don't know if I go that far, but it's heavy cream kasi. That's why before there was a time I add whipping cream to to
Mm-mm.
my coffee.
So in theory, we can have whipped cream and stuff.
Where is this going?
Don't you like bake it and it turns into? Ah, no, no, no.
What are
Let's.
you trying to do? Are you trying to make merengue? But that's really sugar.
Baka lang pwede. Why not?
No, it is not.
But it's nice to know you can still have whipped cream.
And that's our show.
S'mores. S'mores will fall under chocolate. So
But
we
it's
had.
still it's still a candy. I
Yeah,
guess you
but
could argue
we did try. We were trying to limit all chocolate discussion to
because
the
we had
previous
a we had
episode.
another chocolate episode. So yeah,
Yeah.
we focused on just the sugar based candies today.
So I guess yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Um, since there were children who were smoking these fake cigarette candies, should there be an adult version?
What do you mean?
Oh yeah, there is.
There's nicotine
No,
gum.
there's the chupon candy which adults then use to pretend they're kids, or the ones where you suck on the candy but it's a mouth and it shows a smiley face. So yeah, I
And I
guess
remember one being a baby bottle.
yeah.
But I think it's one of those powder
Mhm.
things. Okay.
But I guess that's our show. We've candied out. I think we talked about all the candies we could think of, and I guess to close, I'll never understand candy cane.
Ooh, yeah. Candy cane's like
We still have
annoying.
the candy canes we received
We
from
should
a
just
Christmas party
throw them.
from a few years ago.
They've traveled from Cubao to BGC.
So yeah,
Yeah. And then, okay, so we have a sort of shorter Baduy Pride week this week. We're experimenting with just 3 episodes because there's a lot going on at work, so we're trying to juggle. But then it does feel weird because like Monday, Tuesday, Friday, so because we have stuff happening on Wednesday, so we'll see how that goes. But join us for our Friday Halloween party discussion. If you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, you can fill up the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. You can follow us on Twitter, also be no shade, RG Sunico.
You could also check out our blog, baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below. Let us know what were your favorite candies growing up and what was the last candy you would ever eat in a loot bag. I am curious what you leave behind. Is it
Butterballs.
is it the best or the worst?
The butterballs.
That's his instant answer. And be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. Once again, I'm Rocky.
And I'm Toby.
And
And
this
this
is
is
Baduy
Baduy
Pride.
Pride.
Good night,